Hi everyone, and welcome to my next video. Today on the bench we have a old pocket watch from Elgin. I got it from a local auction and it was in a very poor shape. You can see on the video it was rusted. The rust was visible on the dial and on the movement. As you can see, it has a really nice gold-filled case. Let's try to open it and maybe restore it. Oh my god, can you see that movement? It has a lot of rust. We'll see if it will be even possible to do something about it. Let's try to get the movement out from the case. You can see even those screws are not the nicest ones. They are a bit rusted, but we'll try to address it later. And it did come out. Let's take a closer look at it. You can see a lot of stuff around the hand posts and also a lot of rust around the seconds hand. Let's try to get rid of it. Now it's time for the hands. We'll take them off and then we can take the dial off. It's good they didn't rust to the posts, so it was fairly easy to take them off. And there goes the seconds hand. It was bad, but we made it. Did you notice how much water and dirty oil was in that movement? You can see it on the pad. It looks nasty. Let's try to take off that dial. I noticed one screw was totally rusted and impossible to unscrew. Other two was okay. Then the dial feet, they were also totally stuck in the movement. You can see how I'm trying to wedge in a screwdriver in between dial and the movement. It was really, really tough, and to be honest, I did crack the dial. But finally I got it off, and you can see in what kind of shape the movement is. So now I can take the hour wheel off and the cannon pinion. Cannon pinion didn't want to move when I used forceps, so I did use the tool. Here we have a little zoomed in view on the movement on the dial side. You can see all the rust and gunk. Let's get further on with the movement disassembly. I did start with the balance, the most fragile part. As it seemed undamaged, I didn't want to do something wrong with it. That's why it was first. You cannot really see it, but there is a special slot for the screwdriver to lift the balance bridge. If you do it at home, try to be super gentle with the hairspring. It's very delicate part and it's very easy to bend it. Let's take the next thing off. The bridge of the pallet fork. And the pallet fork itself. Now the bridge for the train of wheels. You can see it was very, very tough to get the screw undone. Both of those screws were really, really rusty. In the end, I could take off the bridge, which you can see I'm doing, and of course it went off with one of the wheels. And in the end, I finally could take off the barrel bridge. Here you can see how sad looking was the escape wheel. It was all covered in gunk and rust. Let's proceed with the disassembly. The keyless work got out. Here we can see the barrel bridge with everything stuck to it. So I started with just undoing the barrel, and after that, winding wheel. Here you can see how the barrel is attached to the bridge. It's held by 3 screws, and it's also jeweled. just take a look what's happening under the barrel. It was oil mixed with some water and rust. It was nasty. And here I just poked out the jewel from the barrel wheel and then took off the barrel wheel itself. Next we can take off the ratchet wheel. It is a left-handed thread, so be gentle with it and do not force anything if you do such repairs. So now let's take care of the rest of the keyless works. So we have the empty plate and we can start cleaning the whole watch. It is few small screws and springs, nothing really difficult to take away. Now before the cleaning I try to open the barrel and take out the main spring. As you will see in a moment, it did not go so well. As there is quite a lot of energy stored in the spring, it just went flying. I had a bit of luck. The spring stayed on the table and the rest of the barrel went flying on the floor. I found it quite quickly. I'm not totally happy with that spring, but we'll see. I will use it for now and maybe order a new one later on. Here you can see all the parts. As you can see, the dial has some evident rust marks. The spring doesn't look too good, but it will do for now. A lot of rust on the main plate and the bridges. And overall, yeah, it will be a good project to clean. Here you can see I left the parts in the naphtha for a few hours just to soak them first. And then let's start the cleaning of the main plate. Let's once again speed up the things a bit so you don't have to look at cleaning the plate for half hour. It took me a good moment to clean up everything, but the end result was enough. Here you can see the video from under the microscope. I'm using a pegwood just to get rid of the caked in rust. It wasn't easy, but in the end I got a good result. And here the same for one of the bridges. Just cleaning manually everything. And there we move to the ultrasonic cleaning. I was using naphtha to clean the parts and then rinse in the IPA. I have to say that jar was not the best idea to use because fishing out all the small parts, it's a nightmare. It took me a good moment to fish out all the small screws and springs. And now just a bit more of cleaning with a brush and pegwood, just to make sure that everything is as spotless as it can be. Not everything I could actually get clean with only naphtha. So as you will see, you try to use WD-40 for example, but still it was a bit tough to get it off. So in the end I decided to use a Dremel and polishing wheel just to get rid of the toughest rusty spots. Here a bit more cleaning with a brush of the bridges just to get it right. Now it's time for the dial. As you can see, I will use denture cleaning tablet. It's a proven method to get rid of the dirt on the dials without damaging them actually. So you will see the result. It is looking really good, to be honest. Whole process is quite simple. A bit of warm water, denture cleaning tablet, and the dial. Everything lands in the baker and I'll leave it there for a few hours. And now we move on to the case. I will use the ultrasonic cleaner. It works really, really good on such ones. Look how dirty the water is. And look also how nice and bright the gold got. I dried it here a bit from the water and then off the camera I rinsed it with IPA just to get rid of the small amounts of water that could be trapped in some cavities. I also did clean that rusty spot, but off camera. Now, when everything is clean, it's time for the assembly. First, oiling the main spring with the Mobius oil, 8200. First, of course, the barrel, then the center wheel, and the third, fourth, and escape wheel. Of course, then I realized I had to change the pad for a holder, because another way you cannot put the center wheel through. First goes the third wheel here, then the center wheel, and then we can put the bridge on. As always, if you do it by yourself, be gentle and be very, very cautious about the pivots so you don't break anything. And now, when the screws are in, a quick check if everything works. So long. And now we can continue with the fourth wheel and the escape wheel. I did put the bridge on under the microscope just to be sure that everything fits perfectly. Now it's time for the pallet fork. As always, be gentle with that. The jewels are glued in with a special substance. It's called shellac, and it might happen that they fall off. After placing the bridge, it's time for the small screw and pallet fork will be in place. Now let's put together the ratchet wheels, the ratchet system. It's fairly easy just to align everything properly and maybe put the jewel the right side. Let's put the click in. It will be almost done. Just putting some tension on the spring to be able to check if everything works. Now let's zoom in a bit so we can see the pallet fork. Let's see now, will it jump as it should? Not quite, but it's good enough for now. Let's try to put the balance on and see what will happen. Will it kick in? It doesn't want to run. So I opened everything again, cleaned a bit more, and then yes, it started to run as it should. Now just putting some oil and putting everything back together on the dial side, checking if I can set the time. And then I can put the dial on. As you can see, it went quite well with the cleaning. It's spotless. You can see some cracks from when I tried to take it off. You remember the rusted screws and rust that held the dial feet. Now let's put it into the case. Case screws. And it's almost done. It's just the crystal that is left and hands, of course. As you can see, the crystal is in place. I did it off camera. I totally forgot to record that video. And then the second hand. It was quite tricky to place it without any help of the microscope. But there it goes. Just a quick press with the pegwood, just to have it firmly in. And it's going. The hour hand, as always, placing it at 12 and then just firmly pressing it down. And last but not least, minute's hand. Just placing it over the hour's hand and pressing it down. As always, a quick check that everything works as it should. You can see that's a railroad grade watch, so it has a special lever that you have to pull out to set the time. It was designed like that to prevent accidental change of time if you would bump into the crown or something like that. And here it is, restored, maybe not to the full glory from the early 1900, but a really, really nice watch. As always, thank you very much that you kept watching and you came to that point. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more content like that, please subscribe and like the video. Have a nice one and see you next time.